here. And so I am so grateful that you are spending your time here with us today. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Carla Doctor, and I help growth-driven, multi-passionate, mostly women, really kick their limits to the curb, and help them find the right things to do so that they can create balance in their life and experience limitless success. I think that oftentimes, I don't know, you guys let me know in the chat, when I say limitless success, does that feel like something that's attainable to you? Does that feel like it's achievable? The things that you've had on your vision board or your goals, is that something that do you believe that you'll be able to achieve those things? Does this idea of creating limitless success sound attainable to you? And I think that sometimes we think like, we look at other people and we're like, how can they achieve this, this, and this? But, they have an abundance of joy and they're always happy and they're always doing all these things, and they don't ever have to worry about how they're going to, pay their electric bill or how they're going to be able to feed their kids, right? We look at other people and we're like, how come they can have it, but we don't, but I can't, right? Why are some people experiencing hardships again and again and again? I was there, unhealthy relationships again and again and again. I'm like, why do I keep on attracting these guys? Why can't I just find a normal person, right? And you never feel like you can catch a break. Why are some people experiencing this abundance, joy, happiness, healthy? They never have to watch what it is that they're eating and they have this perfect body or anything like that. So I think that oftentimes we think of these things, and when I go into the actual slide presentation and share that with you all, comparison can be the thief of joy, right? Like that, it can be something that can really hold us back as we look at what others have, but we're also then thinking about what we don't have. And if you caught any of the videos from the 5 days to overcome overwhelm, really going into our mindset and thinking about lack mentality, that so long as we don't feel like we have enough, then we won't ever have enough, because that's where our focus is going, right? I talked a lot about mindset all last week and really kind of dove into different topics about lack of time, lack of money, the feeling of being overwhelmed and what that all really looks like. And I'll kind of tie those pieces in here as well. But one of the biggest misconceptions about success, about balance, about time, about money, about freedom, it all starts up here first. It all starts in our head. I talked about the self-fulfilling prophecy, right? That your thoughts create your feelings then dictate your actions then reinforce your thoughts, right? So it's if you constantly, every time you look up your bank account and you're worried going into it, is this check gonna bounce? Is this, is my bill gonna go through? You're putting that energy out there, and then your actions are also going to reinforce this cycle, right? And so I want to help you guys break those cycles, break those thought patterns, because ultimately our thoughts are not real. If we think that we have lack, our thought in and of itself is not real. What's real is our ability and our capability to think, right? So we have the opportunity to choose new thoughts. And so Jim Fortin, if you don't know who he is, he's an incredible individual, does a lot of training around mindset work and NLP techniques and things like that. And I will be diving more into that type of training in my program. But he's a really incredible person. And so he's got some free resources out there too. anybody is looking for stuff, I link to him in one of the modules inside Venture Life Society as we like discover like who it is that we want to be and really stepping into all of that. Because this is more than just goal setting. It's more than, finding time and creating time. We have to do the inner work first before anything on our outer perspectives actually come to fruition. So I'm just so grateful that you guys are here, and let's dive in to what I have. I'm going to share my screen, and if in the chat you can let me know if you can. Here we go. All right, let me know in the chat if you can see my PowerPoint presentation here and still see my little head in the corner. Perfect. Okay. Can you guys still see the chat screen if I leave it up here? So I don't want that to be a part of the presentation, the chat screen. So if you can see it, no, just the PowerPoint. Okay. Okay, perfect. I just want to make sure I have it kind of up here just in case anybody has any questions or needs me to go back or anything like that. So, all right. Okay, so welcome to the Unlock Your Power Within to Live with Limitless Success. I'm your host, Carla Doctor, and I am the founder and creator of Venture Life Society. And in this program today, I'm also going to be talking about a framework that I created called the Limitless Success Framework. And we're going to identify roadblocks, ways that we can kind of get unstuck so that you can start to experience more joy and abundance. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, overworked, not quite getting the results that you're craving, or you're already feeling successful, but you're just not seeing it in all the different areas, like stay with me, because you're gonna discover why growth-driven, multi-passionate women like you and me can get more joy and abundance, and why it's critical for you to get the right stuff done and get it handled right now. So we are going to go over kind of some roadblocks. So if anybody right now, just kind of straight out the gate before we get started, what roadblocks or obstacles have you faced in trying to create an abundant life, whether that's in regards to health, wellness, if that's in regards to is that supposed to be perfectionism, Amber? Perfectionism is a huge one. Procrastination. We also have imposter syndrome. Those are 1,000 great ideas when it comes time to do them. No motivation. Yes, that's a big one too, right? And so it's like it's good that you guys are able to identify what some of these things are, and then like really like tapping into the root of where that comes from, right? So it's like, where do we feel in our minds that somehow we are going to lose motivation? You have this pattern or this habit that you're kind of stuck in this cycle of not being able to see it full out. It could be for a variety of reasons. It could be that it's not the right idea. It could be that you're upper limiting yourself, right? That's this concept that basically somewhere deep down within us, we don't feel like we can achieve um, a happy relationship, a thriving career, be a good mom or father or parent, right? Like for some reason that like when everything starts going well, right? Like you just got a promotion at work or you just kicked off your business and things are going great and then you get sick. Or you finally were able to uh, find a really incredible relationship, but then you got fired from your job, right? That like these weird things happen in the universe that like all of a sudden it's like, oh, I was on cloud nine for like a hot second. And then all of a sudden, boom, something happened and knocked you off that pedestal. Has that happened to any of you guys where you're like, things are going really well. And then all of a sudden, boom, something bad happens? Type in a 1 if that's happened to you, because I know that used to happen to me all the stinking time. That it was like as soon as I felt like I was on the right track, then boom, I was like pushed back 1,020%. Yes, yes. And then you keep trying to move forward, right? You're like, oh, just like go, go, go. And then it's so exhausting, right? And then like that doesn't give you the motivation or energy. And then it's like, well, why even bother try, right? Like if I just know that like it's not going to work out well, then why even bother? Why am I exerting all of this energy for all of this? And so I hope that some of the things that we talk about today will help you kind of identify, one, what some of those beliefs are that you're carrying with you, but also how can we rewrite the script? And that's going to go into one of the frameworks that I have for you all today. So a little bit about my backstory. I was born on a cold, I don't know if it's cold or not, but I'm originally from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I moved to Oklahoma 13 years ago, almost 13, 12 years ago. Actually, almost coming up on my 12th anniversary of living here in Oklahoma. I moved here for a job and a boy. I said I wouldn't move just for a boy, so if I get this job, then I'd go. And the place that I was working at was a nonprofit and serving survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, and stalking. And it was tough. There's a lot of hard work involved, on call 24/7. Not to mention, like my backstory was, going through a decade of physical, emotional, sexual, verbal abuse, and trying to break that cycle that I was in. And kind of the reoccurring theme when I was writing my chapter for the book Brilliant Awakening 2.0, it was the reoccurring theme was me discovering my worth. And so I almost wonder if all of you watching this can find some story that we're telling ourselves that we're not worthy of having it all, right? Like being healthy, fit, and strong, having incredible relationships, worthy of having an incredible job that like you're excited to get out of bed to like get to do. And I really want you to kind of just like sit on that and think about what those stories are, because it's likely not just one story, right? There's a ton. And I can think back to like as a kid, like my brother would say things to me. It's an older brother, and I just loved and adored him and wanted to do everything that he did. And so, and I was just a stupid little sister. And, we didn't think that like words really meant anything, right? Like sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Well, right. We get that. That's crap, right? So, um, those words matter. So maybe there's a story from your childhood, um, that kept your voice small. Some of my clients, they kind of discovered like they have a hard time putting themselves out there, making an ask, but that's because they have a hard time using their voice because when they were a kid, they weren't allowed to speak up. They were never allowed to voice their opinion about something. Their opinion didn't matter. They didn't have value, right? And so we interpret like the things that other people are saying to us, and then we take those stories and we make them our own, right? So like my brother said that when I was way little, totally didn't mean anything. I mean, I used to make fun of him too because he was super skinny. And um later in adult life, he just told me this, I think it was like 2 years ago, how he really started after high school and he went to college. He started like working to try to get buff. And now he's like a super buff dude. But he did that because I hurt him, right? Like my intentions were not to do that, but that's what happened. And then so I had that like growing up. And then my first relationship when I was 15 was unhealthy. And I was fat, dumb, ugly, stupid, worthless, never going to find somebody, that's going to treat you any better than me because you don't deserve it. Right. And I took those words on, I took those labels on and made them part of my identity. Now, it's not part of my identity, and we get to choose what our identity is and to step into it. So if you want to choose an identity of having limitless success, of having balance, of having health, wealth, and happiness, you get to choose what your identity is. And that's really what we work on with my clients and in my programs and stuff, is really how do we create this identity of who and what it is that we want, but then actually having the action steps to follow through with it and to master this, because we're always learning, we're always growing, we're always changing. We're exposed to other people. So there was a woman I used to work with, and her supervisor used to be super aggressive and just plain out mean to her. And so anytime somebody would come and talk to her, she was instantly triggered by that, right? Because she was taking on this identity that she couldn't do anything right. And so anytime somebody asked her a question, she was taking it personally because she felt like she couldn't do anything right, because anytime her boss asked her a question, she would then like lay into her. So these are all just kind of things about our identities and what it is that we want to get out of life. So I just kind of wanted to lay a little bit of that foundation. But then even after, that unhealthy relationship, and then I discovered my worth, that I deserved more, that's what gave me the fuel to keep going. He wanted me, I was supposed to go to college for occupational therapy, and he did not want me to go because I would have to like rehabilitate other men, because I would have men as clients. And so he didn't want me to go to college at all. He wanted me to go to tech school and become a mechanic like him, because there's no dudes there, right? I mean, logic doesn't necessarily work all the time there. But I think that like something that we really want to look at, I was like, no, like I deserve more than this. Like I deserve to like do what it is that I want in life. Like, and yeah, anyways, that's a whole long story, but like that happened. And then even here recently, 2 years ago, I found out I was pregnant. I tried to launch this program 2 years ago. I was doing a 5-day Overcome Overwhelm challenge. And on day 3 of the challenge, I found out I was pregnant. And then like I finished the 5 days, never made an offer, right? Keeping myself small. Said things in my head, right? Like there's things that come up on a regular basis. And then even EmpowerCon, some of you guys were even at EmpowerCon. And I never even told you guys how to work with me. I put together this event with these incredible speakers and this high vibe, this great energy, and then just sent everybody on their way. Well, that's not really helping anybody get to the next level, right? How could you implement the stuff that we talked about? And that's a really like kind of the other part behind this is like keeping the energy and the focus that, each one of us as individuals, we are strong, but together we are limitless. And there's so much power in that community, in that energy. And I want to take what we've done in person and create that in an online space and have that community and that support and that love, and these all of these incredible people in the community and how they can pour in and share their gifts and create a further impact. So it's kind of a little bit of the backstory kind of leading up to today. And so like I'm not perfect. I'm not a unicorn. And I skipped ahead, but I do want you to believe and to know that your your success is truly inevitable. That the universe, God, angels, spirits, your divine spirits for your highest good, like they want you to succeed. People want you to succeed. The right people want you to succeed, right? But your success is inevitable. And we, kind of did a checkpoint earlier. I was kind of like, hey, like, does this feel attainable? And, sometimes it doesn't. And it kind of depends on the day. But this is a fact. The fact is that your success is inevitable and that you are worthy. I often say, I look at my son and I would never look him in the eyes and say, you're not worthy of having a job that you love to do and having a good relationship and being able to have an abundance of finances to be able to pay your bills and to do whatever it is that makes you feel comfortable. I would never tell him that he's not worthy, right? Because you're born worthy. Each and every one of you, like it is your God-given right on this planet to be worthy of whatever it is that you desire. And so if there's anything that you take away from this, it's that your success is inevitable and that you are freaking worthy. And if you have a hard time with that because people have said things to you, because you have a belief and a story that's on repeat in your head, if that's you, shoot me an email, shoot me a DM on Facebook, and let's talk it out. Okay, let's get to the root of that. And I really want you to know that you are worthy, and that your success is inevitable. And I just blacked out my computer. Okay. So again, I'm not a unicorn. I don't have millions of dollars in the bank right now. I don't have any magical recipes, and I wouldn't consider myself lucky, right? Like being in all of these situations and several unhealthy relationships and being robbed and held at gunpoint and then my house broken into, my purse stolen. It's one time when I was karaokeing, right? Like I wouldn't say that I'm a lucky person, but there's a big shift that happened when I became very intentional and paid attention to my thoughts. When I started doing the inner work, that's when the quote unquote magic started to happen. That's when you see these other people who are successful, when you see the perfectly curated Facebook feed where they don't have any cares or worries, and everything is, happy-go-lucky. I don't think that anybody really, like any human, especially in the current state with everything that's happening with Black Lives Matter, the racial and social justice issues that we have in our system, with the coronavirus and the different challenges that has brought about, and sickness and illness and, things that are just like completely unnecessary, are happening. And so I think that like part of this too is our mindset on how we can show up for what matters most right now, especially during these times, right? Some mindset work could be done around that to help you kind of move through this challenging time. So it took some work and a lot of obstacles to overcome. And one of my other videos that I did last week, I talked about like hard work and hustling. So, who here likes the word hustle? If you like hustle, type hustle in the chat box. I love Gary Vee, but he's like a hustle your face off, like work 50 billion hours. And okay, so you like hustle. I don't like the word hustle. It like makes me, because for me, hustle means sacrifice. For me, hustle means go, 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 and like not take care of myself. And, but again, it's our association with what it's like to hustle. Some people too, when they think of hustling, they think of like salesy, right? And so that could be a barrier. So we're all in sales. Can we all agree that if you are a entrepreneur, that you are in sales, whether you like it or not? And how many of you have a hard time reaching out to people because you don't want to be too salesy, because that one person, that one experience that you had way back when with the sleazy car salesman, or somebody who was really pushy with something and you just like finally gave in. That happened to me once. Well, not once, more than once, but there's this one time and I was like, oh my God, I will just buy this one thing if it means that you will like get off my back. Like I don't want to do this, right? And so then we interpret our feelings that we've had from somebody else who's given us this type of experience, and we take it on as our own. And then we don't want to appear that way. So then we don't ever speak up, and we don't share our gifts with the world. So hustle is something that if it works for you, then like embrace it and hustle, sister, like do it. But if you're like me and you're like, hustle's not the thing, then you don't have to hustle. I'm going to give you permission to do or not do whatever it is that like really speaks to you, and really like tapping into like your intuition and your heart and what it is that you ultimately want. Something that I had mentioned earlier, right? Comparison is the thief of joy. If we compare ourselves to those perfectly curated Instagram feeds, Facebook feeds, all of that, why does this person get to have all of the success? Why does this person get to eat ice cream every night and never gain a freaking pound, right? Like when we compare ourselves and where we're at to somebody else, it makes us feel less than. And that's never going, this is another one of those obstacles. We talked about procrastination, perfectionism, imposter syndrome, comparison. I'm never going to be able to be like that person, so why even bother try? Or it's not fair, or I don't have enough, or I can't. One of my favorite quotes is by Henry Ford, and it's, whether you think you can or can't, either way you're right. Because again, it's going back to that mindset. I'm going to come back here again and again and again. But the thing that's different, and that's like not even fair to compare, because each one of you are an individual human being. There is nobody else on this planet that is more youer than you. Nobody else has your unique combination of education, life experience, work experiences, creativity, love, feelings. Like nobody else is you. There are more than 7.6 billion people on this planet, and you are the only you. And you have something special inside of you that only you can share with the world, with your family, with all of us. Okay. So sometimes I talk about the F word. When I talk about the F word, I don't mean about the naughty one. I talk about fear, right? Fear is, so I'm not going to get into the scienciness of the brain, but fear is actually, when you feel fear, your body is also feeling the same things as if you were excited. Increased heart rate, sweaty palms, like you're more alert and attentive, all of these things, your body's having the same reaction. So oftentimes we confuse excitement as fear, right? Like giving a presentation, because what fear really is fear is a survival mechanism. Fear is there to keep you safe. And when we were created, and like, fear was to keep you safe from the saber-toothed tiger from eating you. Okay, like it was like that, like actual like physical safety. But now we've taken it in as this internal safety to keep us in our comfort zone. And it's our ego that's talking to us, that's trying to keep us small, to keep us in our comfort zone so that we don't have to step out of it and actually do something else. So I also like to say that it's false evidence appearing real, because when it really comes down to it, right, when you're in a crappy job and you hate it, or you might get fired, or you might be trying to leave a relationship, or somebody is breaking up with you, or you're afraid to start that job, really tap into like, what is it that you're really afraid of? Like, what is at the root of that fear? And something I often do with my clients when these fear things keep coming up. So type fear in the comments if fear is something that's held you back. Fear of success, fear of failure, fear of looking like an idiot, fear of stumbling over your words, fear that you don't have anything good to offer, right? Like fear shows up in so many freaking things. So anytime you start to feel fear, ask yourself, like, is it real? Am I in danger right now? And if I am, like, what's the worst case scenario? Like, what is the worst thing that can happen right now? Um, because like when I was in a relationship and I was like really upset, things were coming to an end. And so then I journaled, like, okay, well, what's the worst that can happen? Well, worst case scenario, like I get a divorce. Okay. I'll be able to survive that, right? Okay. So now, um, if I get a divorce, then like, what's the worst case? And I would go. Okay, well, I have to move back in with my parents. Okay, well, what would happen then? Well, if I move back in with my parents, then I'd have to go get a job. Um, okay. And it was like at the end of the day, like it really wasn't that bad. Um, if you kind of play it out and kind of just write it all through. So another way that you can think of fear is face everything and rise. So I think that that's just a little bit more of a beautiful way to look at things. Um, and so you are strong. You can move past and push past the fear, but we have to identify what it is first before we can get over that obstacle, right? Like if you're running on a track and if you can't see the obstacles that are coming, you're going to hit the roadblock. You're never going to be able to dodge around it if you never see this big giant wall that's holding you back. So you have to identify what those things are, what those roadblocks are, if it's that fear, if it's that procrastination, what that is. And then know that you are capable, and that you hold yourself as capable of shedding that flashlight, trying to find that invisible wall wherever it is, identify what that is so that you can then do the work to break through that wall, break through that barrier. And another thing too, like how many of you when you're like on track to reach a goal and then like something else pops up. Again, this kind of goes back to that whole like upper limiting thing, right? That like you get a raise and then your partner breaks up with you, or like you think that like you found what it is that you want to do and start a business, and then all of a sudden all these other things start happening. And oftentimes that's kind of, again, our ego coming in and trying to keep us in our comfort zone, right? Because a lot of us have a fear of success too, right? It's like it's something that we desire, like we don't want to be failures, right? But kind of you technically do, because if you make a failure, like I don't think that there's any such thing as a failure, because one of two things happen. You either get the lesson that you wanted, right? You get the outcome that you wanted, or you get the lesson that you needed. And again, when you're stuck in a cycle and you see yourself coming through again and again and again and having the same obstacles and same hardships, it's because you haven't learned the lesson that you needed to learn yet from it. There's something else that you need to release. There's something in there. And so you're being put in those situations again and again and again until you shift that mindset, until you find that missing piece, until you discover your worth, right? Like finding that thing, what that might be for you. Life is happening for me, not to me. Most of you know that's kind of been my mantra for the last couple of years. And I know that what's for me will not move past me. And I will tell you, with all of the mindset work, with all of the stuff that I've been doing over the last several years, there's no way in hell I would be where I am, like sharing with you guys, like having this program, doing coaching. There's no way I would be here for you today had I have not done this work. So if there's work that you feel that you can improve upon, then stick with me, y'all. Because sometimes the hardest things that we need to do are the things that we need to do most. It's the thing that we're avoiding the most. And so hopefully you have identified at least some areas in which might be that hard thing to take that leap. We're only thrown a life raft so many times. If we deny them all, we will eventually drown. This kind of talks about some of my like career paths, right? When I was at the nonprofit, I mean, it was a lot of hard work, because that's how I chose to see it, for not a very big paycheck and a lot of stress and dealing with the system and racism and perpetrators, right? Like it was not, it wasn't a very like simple job to do. But, so many opportunities may come along to like, quote unquote, rescue you. And if you deny them, then eventually you are going to drown. People holding their hands out to try to help like save you, and if you turn them away so many times, then people stop asking, because you're telling the universe that you don't want it. And so I would challenge you that the next time somebody reaches out to you to offer assistance, even no matter how small it is, but just to kind of take them up on it. Because just as much as you like to give and help other people, people like to do that for you. And if you're resisting it and you're like, nah, I'm good, I don't need anything, I never need anything, then you're putting this big wall up between you and the universe. The universe is going to stop giving. It's not going to let you have that balance. It's not going to let you have that limitless success, because you're putting these walls up saying, nah, I'm good, I don't need any help, I don't need anything. And we cannot let fear, failure, fear of success hold us back from what it is that we want to do. So at the end of the day, you get to choose what level of success you will achieve. Like you have full control over it. Is there a lack of money in the world right now? Let me know in the chat box. Type in a Y if you think that there's like a finite amount of money. I guess type in no, 2. Yes. Okay, perfect. I was like, well, I didn't give you another opposite for that. So like, we know that like there is an abundant amount of money out there. And it's not that like you are worthy of your piece of it. But the problem is that we think of it as like a piece of the pie, right? Like I almost even just said it because that's the story that we're told when we're little. Money doesn't grow on trees, right? Sometimes you feel like, oh, well, if I take from this piece of the pie, then I'm taking away from somebody else, and I don't want to do that. I had posted something, did a Facebook Live on this and was talking about like being just like grateful for abundance, that every time you see a penny, like pick it up and let the universe know and say, thank you, universe, for the abundance of money that flows easily to me every day. And if you do that every time, you'll see more and more pennies. You're going to find quarters in the couch. You're going to find a $20 bill and a, jacket that you bought, right? Like you're going to find these little miracles that are happening because you're grateful and you're open to receiving it. And, but again, when we put up that blocker and we say, no, we don't want help, or no, I don't need that penny, that we're pushing that very thing away. And somebody had commented on that video and she's like, well, I just never picked him up because I just figured that somebody else needs it more than I do. But that's still, while it's an act of a gift, now you can pick that penny up and say, I'm grateful for the abundance that flows to me, and I want to give this to somebody else. Sure, lay that penny back down. But if you don't acknowledge it and acknowledge these beautiful gifts that are coming to you, eventually you're not going to get those. You're not going to get that life raft. You're not going to get that little extra thing. And, you have a few options when it comes to achieving your level of success, right? You can give up, you can give in, or you can give it all you got, right? So, we often give up because we have too many ideas. We have too many things, right? Someone mentioned earlier, so many ideas and then never like taking action and not having the motivation for it. You just kind of give in. So I feel like giving up and giving in are too similar. Giving in, staying in your comfort zone. Giving up, staying in your comfort zone. Well, let me tell you, in your comfort zone, if you don't have the level of success that you want, then how comfortable really is that? Because either way, you're going to feel pressure, right? So, I don't know, what would you guys choose? You choose success or you choose to give in? Because what got you here won't get you there. The thinking that you used to get you through today is not going to get you to the next place. And so if we want to change our current reality, then we will have to take a step. And it doesn't have to be something crazy. It doesn't have to be this big giant thing. But just taking, call it inspired action, that's actually action that is coming from within, that is going to kind of be like the domino, that like it's going to set some forward momentum. Start doing some habit stacking even. Habit stacking is kind of when looking at not feeling like you've accomplished anything because you have these big things weighing on you that you've procrastinated on and waited and waited and waited to start doing. That it's just like going through and just trying to do a bunch of things in like 10 minutes, like set a timer and like gamify it and like try to like, okay, I'm going to do this and this and this and this and this and this and this. And then it slowly like gets that snowball forming, right? As you're like pushing and rolling, and it starts to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And so it's really kind of working on those types of things. Because here's the deal. If you don't believe in yourself, who will? Right? Because like somebody can tell you to believe in yourself. I can tell you that you should believe in yourself. But if you don't choose to believe that yourself, then you'll stay exactly where you are. And then the other crazy thing is, guys, we will argue for our limitations all day long, as if the things that we have we don't have them because of someone or something else. And I get it. I totally used to be there. They're trying to find happiness and looking in all the wrong places, right? You've ever heard that quote before? But it's like thinking that being in a relationship is going to make you happy. And then you get in that relationship and you're like, nope, not happy. Maybe we should have a kid. Having a kid, that would make me happy. Nope. Maybe it's buying a house. Nope. Maybe it's buying this new car. Nope. Not happy, not happy, not happy. Because it starts from inside. Happiness is created within ourselves. Just like success, just like health, everything in our current reality is something that was created. But it started from here. I talked before about the self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Thoughts, actions, behaviors reinforce. You get your results, and your results reinforce what your thoughts were. And so how about we change our thoughts and we start defending our dreams and not our excuses? Are y'all down for that? Do you want to defend your dreams and not your excuses? Let me know. Okay, perfect. So success looks different to everyone. Again, we covered this, right? Don't compare yourself to anybody else. So here are the 7 steps to create limitless success. The very first step is creating that definition of what it looks like to you. You get to choose. Next step is your mindset. The next step is creating a winning routine. Next step is doing the work and taking inspired action. 5th step, investing in yourself. 6th, enhancing your surroundings. And then contributing and serving others. And then hopefully you enjoy the journey along the way. So let's dive into these a little bit deeper. So the first one, creating your definition of what success looks like to you. So what does that look like? Does that look like $2,000 a month? Does that look like $10,000 a month? Does that look like the ability to go to the grocery store and not care? Does that look like helping a certain amount of people? Does that look like quitting a job that you hate? What does success look like for you? Oh, and actually, I'll email this out. I have a worksheet for you that I can post in here too, but let me see if I can add a file. So you get to decide what success looks like. For example, when you have weight loss, oftentimes we are, it might be like a certain number on the scale, or, sorry, apparently can't talk at the same time. Okay, I put it in the chat, so let me know if you're able to get that. But there's a PDF in there that you can print off now or later, but I'll also send that out to everybody in the email with the recording and stuff. But to just kind of take notes on like what it is, what some little things, what some actions are that maybe you can kind of take control over, things that you can kind of work on. So for weight, oh, you don't see it in the chat? Okay, JK. Oh, it might be a different thing. It might not show up in the chat. It might be like a file or an attachment. If you're on a phone, it might look different than if you're on the computer. But even if you just have a little piece of paper to just kind of jot down some thoughts around these. But for weight loss, it's not just a number, it's a feeling, right? Like we think that, oh gosh, I just have to lose 10 pounds and then everything will be fine, right? But it's not the 10 pounds that you really want to lose. It's because you want to feel a certain way in your clothes. It's because there are maybe like you want to be able to walk up 2 flights of stairs without feeling winded. Maybe you want to be able to chase after your kid and not want to fall over doing so. So it's more than just a number. Like success, think about the feelings that it would create if you were able to have that success. Think about why it's important to you, how much, what does it feel like, who else would be positively impacted by you when you are tapped into your fullest potential. And what does that mean to you, right? So these are all different ways to look at defining it. And like part of the framework for limitless success is creating definitions around things, getting clarity. Because so oftentimes, right, like if you don't know what it is that you're putting on this planet to do, you kind of feel like you're spinning the wheels all the time. So like if that's you, action can help kind of create some clarity. But if we have no idea where it is that we're going, right? We want to get to Florida. Well, when I type it in my phone, like I have to give it a destination. It has to know where I'm going in order to create the roadmap. So if that's the place to start, is actually like figuring out what that thing might be for you, then maybe starting there. But you get to decide. Look at, define, find some clarity around what it is that you really want and what it means to you. The next one's the biggest. Like I talked about before, it's all in our brains. Checking your mindset, your thoughts. Can you actually believe that this thing is possible or attainable? Because if you don't think it's something that's attainable, then you're right. But if you think it's achievable, you're right, right? So how can we shift our beliefs so that with that cycle, with the self-fulfilling prophecy, that we're actually getting the things that we really want? How can we declare what it is, who it is that we want to be, and what it is that we want to achieve? Part of that too comes with visualizing it, right? Reading affirmations, having a vision board, creating, like we've created like little mini like cards and affirmation cards. Stuff around your mindset is also limiting beliefs. And so there's a whole module inside Venture Life Society that talks about really figuring out like how to get what it is that you really want, because it's diving deep into these things and figuring out what it is that you actually want, right? Because you need that clarity. But then it's also like tapping into my thoughts around it and what's holding me back. Because so often it's these limiting beliefs, these upper limiting things that are happening, the procrastination, there's something deeper in that procrastination. There's a belief that in doing this thing or by not doing this thing, I'm going to get this thing, right? Like smokers. they know that it's going to kill them. They know that smoking's bad. They know all of these things. But for some reason, they're still getting the secondary gain from it. There's still something in that activity that they are getting that until they can break what that belief is, they're going to continue to be in that habit. So identifying those limiting beliefs and really diving into that, trying to figure out where that story originated from within ourselves, or heck, even generations ago, because all of this stuff kind of also gets passed down to us. Creating and stating affirmations, so going back to the challenge last week, I talk in there about creating affirmations that actually work, and having the attitude of gratitude. Talked a lot about gratitude, doing a gratitude rampage. That's also another Facebook Live I did a while back. But those are really good places to start. Stating the affirmations, like, I'm beginning to believe that, right? So if you find it unbelievable that you can have balance in your life, writing an affirmation saying that I'm beginning to believe that I can, right? So it's like you're saying it in a way that's still believable. Like, I believe that I'm able to, right? And then recognizing those fears and calling them out. Are they real or are they perceived? Creating a winning routine. And this is what we're going to be doing next week in Venture Life Society, is kind of plugging in all of these different things that we've been talking about, the gratitudes, the intentions, the inner work, to really piece together what this big ultimate like winning routine is, right? So stating those gratitudes, intentions, affirmations, but it's also like finding time for you, right? Meditating, resting, recharging. Macy, who's in this group, if anybody doesn't know her, go check her out. It's Mindful Living Solutions. Macy, if you want to type your handle in the chat. Macy she does intentions, she does a lot of beautiful work, and really like helping, mindful living solutions, and stating like affirmations and gratitudes and intentions and meditations. But it's finding those things and those people. We have this incredible community of women. If there's anybody that you're looking to like get connected with, let me know, because I know people in different genres and niches, and who have different skills and gifts and talents. And so let me help connect you with those people to give you this little piece. And you don't have to do all of this, right? Like at the end of the day today, like it's not going to like, oh, yeah, now I have these 7 things that I need to do. This is something that takes time. It's not just oh, okay. But promise me, guys, promise me that you're not going to just take this education and just let this education sit there, and that you're not going to do anything with it. That this is something that like you're going to implement. So type in "I promise" in the chat if you promise me that you are not going to just like learn all of this stuff and not implement something. I want you all to walk away and start implementing with at least one thing. Okay. Thank you. Love that. So that's a big thing, is creating this winning routine and finding out what works for you. Finding like, we know that all of these things are part of like what this winning routine needs to look like. We need water to survive. Our bodies need to move. We need to, learn and grow. We need to eat healthy. We need to recharge. Intentions, like getting our head in the right place, setting priorities, and getting plenty of sleep. That when you have these things in your daily schedule, you will be happier, healthier, and wealthier. Guaranteed. And we're like, well, when am I going to find the time to do this? I don't want to wake up early. Lots of choice. Can you go to bed earlier to wake up a little earlier? Is there a TV show that you can, maybe just catch it on DVR over the weekend? Like, what are some things that you could kind of negotiate with? Um, there's things that you can let go of, and that was, I think, day 4 of the challenge last week when I talked about like looking at your time and what is it that you're looking at, planning and protecting. So, um, finding that time. Your winning routine doesn't have to take 5 hours. Now, I know that there are billionaires and they spend 5 hours of their day doing these things first thing in the morning, and they'll spend 2 hours meditating, right? Like right now, I couldn't sit for 2 hours and meditate. Well, one, because I just said that I can't, right? So that then it's my truth. But some people do that, right? And you're like, well, how can they do that? They're like make billions of dollars and they spend 5 hours, working out and meditating. When are they working? Right. But it's because of their mindset, because of the things that they're doing, um, that lays the foundation. So we have to start someplace. Um, Planning tomorrow today, another really good one, especially if you're overwhelmed, overworked, stressed out. Having a plan, getting things out of your head, planning for the next day. The next one is do the work, right? So this is back to taking that inspired action. Start somewhere. Action will create clarity. And so for those of you who are procrastinators, and we're like, oh, I can't make a decision. Do I want this or do I want this? Do I want this job? I don't know. So if you are the type of person who has a really hard time making a decision, um, tapping into some of this procrastination stuff might be a good place to look for you. Um, we know that successful people and leaders, they make decisions and they make them fast. I don't know one person who is, quote unquote, like successful. Oprah, Beyonce, Ellen, any of our successful, Martin Luther King, like any of our successful, like past people, Obama. Do you think that they would get away, that they would have the level of success that they did if they didn't make decisions fast? No. We second guess ourselves again and again and again. And I know, like for me, that came from again back in the like unhealthy relationships that I felt like damned if I do, damned if I don't. So I'm just not going to say anything. I just have no opinion. My opinion is void. I can't think for myself, because if I say one thing, it's wrong. If I pick another thing, it's wrong. Or then I had the victim part 2 that it was like, I chose to go to, this place and this bad thing happened. And so then I started to associate me making a decision and something bad happened. So then I just stopped making decisions. Well, that's not going to get me to success. That's not going to get me what it is that I want, because I can't ever decide what the heck it is that I want. I just know that it's not this, right? So action will create clarity. But again, tapping into that mindset, got to figure that out first. Got to figure out what the work is that we need to do, what the inspired action needs to be that is behind our vision board, the inspired action to change and shift those beliefs that we have. We can go into productivity stuff, but like none of that's going to matter until we tap into ourselves. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? We know that done is better than perfect, that there will always be something that you can add, tweak, or take away from whatever it is that you're doing. But if it's never done because it's never perfect, then you're like basically dying with these gifts and beautiful things inside of you because you're not sharing them with anybody. Asking for help and receiving it. That was the tough one for me too. I'm like, I'm Miss Independent. I don't need help. I need help, y'all. And I tell people too, I was like, hey, just, like I don't typically ask for help, but when I do, like, know that it's like, it's real. but I'm getting better about asking for help and like giving back into that, right? Because I like to help other people. And so it's part of this like law of reciprocity, of this like give and take, right? Like pouring more into the universe is going to bring more in. Actually spending like more money inspiredly will actually bring more in. That's a whole nother level of woo. I don't know. Um, that's another workshop. If we're not learning, then we are dead, right? If we are not constantly learning and growing, then our minds have stopped working. So like we need to invest in ourselves. Your knowledge, this could be books, it could be podcasts, it could be courses, memberships, conferences, summits, any of these things. Doing the inner work, investing in yourself is the best thing that you can do to ensure that like you're on the right path and that you're continuing to grow. This also helps with, people investing in themselves for accountability, support, and encouragement. I mean, like, think about all of the different like memberships and subscriptions that you have, whether it's for Netflix or the gym, right? Like, you're getting something from them. I don't know if Netflix is the one that's really going to help you grow, but Audible, Amazon, right? Like some of these things, some of these different things that we have that really help us continue to grow. So what might that be for you that you can invest in yourself with? Enhancing your surroundings. This was a big one for me, especially several years ago. This was one of the things that I was also showed up as like procrastination, but it's because I hated my workspace. I hated my office space. I had zero joy. I had tons of clutter, couldn't find anything. So then I could never sit down and focus on anything because I'd sit there and I didn't feel joyful because I'm like, oh, this looks like crap. I should be like cleaning this up, but instead that overwhelms me. So I'm just going to go watch TV, just not do anything. Well, that's not going to get me very far, is it? So it might be your physical surroundings, and then it might also be the people that you're surrounding yourself with. And it also might be enhancing your mental surroundings and getting that crap, those limiting beliefs out of the way, right? So how can you create this beautiful mental, physical, spiritual space for you to really achieve and operate in your full potential? So could that be decluttering a room? It could be something that you go through and you can set a timer. 15 minutes a day, you'll clean one workspace, or you'll go through your emails and start deleting all the stuff if going into your emails overwhelms you. A lot of people are doing some cleanup on Facebook, looking at some of the things and the way other people think, going ahead and deleting some of those people, because as you clear space, as you get rid of the negative, as you get rid of the things that are no longer serving you, you are then clearing space for the universe to give you more. If I bought a brand new Ferrari, it's not going to fit in my garage if I don't move my old piece of crap car out, right? So you got to clear space. You got to make room for it. You got to clear the space so that the universe can bring those things in for you. Your space should bring you joy. The people you hang out with should bring you joy. The people you connect with should bring you joy. So joy should be in all of these different places. And if you look around you and you don't have joy in a certain aspect of your life, maybe it's starting with kind of clearing some space in there. Jim Rohn has this famous quote that's kind of, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And so are you constantly surrounding yourself with other like-minded individuals who will lift you up, who are encouraging and providing gifts and educating and supporting each other? Because I am all about communities. I'm all about people. I'm all about networking and connecting. And so I love this quote because you get to choose who it is. And no, I'm not telling you to like break up with somebody or, that you have to like eliminate people, but you can kind of monitor your time that you're spending or the energy that you're giving people who are no longer serving you. So it might come time to kind of up level some of the people you're surrounding yourself with. And then the seventh one, and this ties into even the beginning in your definition of success, because ultimately at the end of the day, in order for us to feel fulfilled, it's contributing and serving. Like at our core, the quickest way to fulfillment is by giving and serving and contributing. So, and it makes the world a better place. So it's like a win-win, right? So thinking about different things. So whether this is in the line of work that you're doing, or if you have a job and you want to volunteer someplace, some of us contribute and serve through our 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 work. There are other community things that you can get involved in. Like I am the co-chair for the provisionals this year for the Edmond Women's Club, which is a community-based fundraising to give back to nonprofits that serve the community. And so what are some ways that you can get involved to contribute and serve? Whether that's donating $5, whether that's doing the roundup on the OKC, I think it's the electric bill that you can like lend a hand, I think it is. And just kind of give a little bit more, or give some of your time, or give some of your old clothes away. Find something that you can give. Start using your voice on matters that are important to you. Think about what injustices. I could think of 30 right now. What makes you mad? How can you use your voice? Can you call your legislator? How can you stick up when you see somebody posting something wrong and have an uncomfortable conversation with somebody? But all of these things lead to fulfillment. And this is what successful people do. Because you are a person who is leading other people and helping. Like when you look to somebody and you see that they're doing good work, you're like, oh, I want to do that too. So how can you contribute and serve to others? Give more than you take. That's another thing too. Especially if you're in like Facebook groups, and you want somebody to like, share, and support your message. I would say every single day, go into different groups or go on Facebook and just 5 people, just comment on their stuff. Give them the thumbs up. Share their message if you think it's important. Send it to somebody in a private message. Give more than it is that you take, because then you can't just post something on Facebook and be like, oh, well, nobody ever likes or comments on my stuff. Lead by example. Start giving. These are things that don't have to cost any money either, right? What legacy do you want to leave? Like, is there, family, kids, partners, like at the end of the day, what is life for? Right? If all we do is hard work and hustle, our faces off, and we work 16 hours a day and we're always working and, got to make that money. Sell, do. What's it all for at the end of the day if you never get to enjoy your crops? Right? So we have to kind of enjoy these things. We have to enjoy this one beautiful, precious life that we're given on this planet. And contributing and serving can also play into leaving that legacy. I knew for me, like in my story and kind of the things that I had gone through, I didn't go through all that crap just to go through it. I didn't go through it just to die with a story inside of me. Because when I started sharing, then other people are like, oh my gosh, like that really like resonated with me. I mean, I think of EmpowerCon, and every single one of our speakers people were coming up to me afterwards like, man, I really resonated with her. Man, I really resonated with her. Man, I really resonated with her. You're not alone. You're not alone. And you have something beautiful inside of you. And even if it's just like helping one person on a one-on-one level where you see somebody or giving an uplifting word, but give somehow to other people. And really that's it, guys, right? So it's like actually pretty simple, right? Like this whole concept of limitless success, like, which might have sounded pretty like overwhelming at the beginning, but really when it comes down to it, to have and achieve the success, one, depends on your definition, and then changing your mindset around it, and then creating and implementing your routine, taking the inspired action and doing the work, investing in yourself, keeping yourself growing, keep enhancing your surroundings, and contribute and serving to other people. And I promise you, it's that simple. And it's always easy, right? Because a lot of the work that we do and a lot of the work that we do within Venture Life Society is constantly redefining what it is that we want or what goals it is that we have. Something that we desire, confidence, time, money, freedom, and really honing in on different topics, because there are a lot of different roadblocks and obstacles and beliefs that we have around all of these different things. You know, we talked about a bunch of them at the beginning. So it's oftentimes going to be kind of this, it's this cycle, and it's this cycle of mastery and having an abundance and receiving abundance and allowing yourself to receive that abundance. So yeah, and the mindset stuff, I'm not gonna lie, it can be challenging because you have to really think about like, where the heck this crap came from? Where did the story come from? How did I get here? And then it's flipping the script and rewriting it. But it's doable. And you don't have to do it all at once. Just start someplace. You guys all promised me that you're going to walk away and not just have these, can't just have all these and know them, but then not do anything about it. Okay? So think about what might be one thing that you can do. Actually, let me know in the chat. What's one thing that you can do from the Limitless Success Principles that you can implement starting tomorrow or even tonight? Love it. Enhance my surroundings. Yes, office on point. I know. I'm like a cluttered person too. I'm a recovering, oh, what's it called? I think somebody said it called it like a surface cover. That like if there's any like flat surface that I'm gonna cover it with something. I'm going to make a to be and do list. Yes, I love that, Linda. There's a really great meditation that's who do I need to be today? And it's putting aside that to-do list. So like when you start, it's really like looking at, okay, what is it that's like my top for the day? Who do I need to be in order to get these things done today? Yes, create the definition and enhance surroundings. I love it. I love it. Okay. I'm going to hold y'all to that. Not limit myself. Take a step back when I feel fear. Perfect. Okay. So Amber, when, creating any affirmations around this, something I just want to, you all to be mindful of, that like our subconscious mind doesn't hear not. So if you're like, I will not limit myself anymore, I will not hold myself back, I will not be a procrastinator, really the message that you're repeating is that I'm going to be a procrastinator. I'm going to limit myself, because our subconscious doesn't hear those negative words. So like, I will overcome things that get in my way. I will have positive self-talk, and really creating affirmations like I will, I will overcome fear. Yes, I love that. Perfect. Yeah, because obviously the last thing you want to do is just attract more of what it is that you're trying to not have, right? So go back and check out that video too, when I talked about creating affirmations. So there's some good nuggets in there. Okay, so I do want to tell you guys about Venture Life Society. Many of you are already in this program, and I love you, and I'm grateful for you for being there. And this has kind of been an evolving program and project. Again, this has been on my heart for years to put out there. I put it out there to a couple people a couple months ago. We have a thriving community of women right now. And we are like-minded, multi-passionate, ambitious women looking to step into our full potential. And every month we have kind of a new theme, along with a coaching call, resources, and training to support you in wherever it is that you are on this journey. And so I just invested a lot of money into a program specifically for membership course creators. And so I'm doing a lot of work on the back end on getting, like, laying out the framework and creating our success path and all of these things. So I have my original founding members, but I never really talked about it to anybody else. Never talked about it at EmpowerCon. And so this is my last call, so to speak, to actually get people in on a founding members right now. Initially people got in for free, for a month for free, for my original founding members. And so that opportunity is not there. But for founding members, you get locked in at a low rate, and whatever you do now, that'll be with you for the life. So long as you remain a member in good standing within the community. But it's really a beautiful space where we do these group coaching calls, and that's kind of like, hey, I'm having some resistance around da 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 da, and we can talk about it, and you can post it in the group. We share inspiring messages to each other, and then I bring in guest experts, and they'll come and do a masterclass. So we've had so actually right now, when you log into the portal, there's a training on unleashing your inner badass. There's stuff around confidence. There's stuff around self-love. We've had a lot of really good conversations around self-love, which ties into that worthiness. So if you're feeling kind of unworthy of certain things, tapping into that. And so I just think of it as your monthly dose of self-love and worth, to be the best version of you, so that you can achieve whatever it is that you want and create an impact in the world. And so it's just a really fun thing, and I've just really loved the space and the energy and the direction that it's headed. And again, really implementing these 7 limitless success principles into an actual framework where we're kind of working through the circle, right? Because it's a continual process. It's not just a one and done, right? If I were to go to the gym, I wouldn't just walk up and do a 500-pound deadlift, right? I would have to start off smaller and work myself up. And then once I do that 500-pound deadlift, well, I can't just stop working out for 2 years and come back to the bar and think that I can lift that again, right? So it's your brain is a muscle, and your habits are important. And so this is something that we continuously work on and improving. And then you find that balance. And then people are at all different levels within this community too. And so there's the loving and giving and serving happening within that group too. And so it's just really beautiful. We have journaling prompts, self-coaching tools. I share also as like a founding member, like you get first access to things. So like if I host another like workshop or something, like either I'll like throw it in like for you as a bonus or give you like a super discounted rate, like discounted rates for like EmpowerCon in the future. Just kind of like first grabs at some of the things that I'm coming up with and implementing. I have a calendar that I do like with journaling prompts to kind of like, who is it that I need to be today? What am I grateful for? And kind of piecing that in with the morning routine. So everybody's going to have access to that this month too. So I'm really excited about that, along with the like what worked well, what didn't work well. And I've been really like excited about this journal to share this with everybody. So yeah, so that's Venture Life Society is the program, and it if you're interested, you can go to venturelifecoaching.com/join VLS and get started now. It costs less than 2 shots of tequila a month. It costs less than like 2 coffees and a pastry, a good pizza. Those are all the things that are important to me. No, I'm just kidding. But really, I mean, it's like $19.97 a month, and you'll be forever locked in at that. And then if you think about all of the master classes that are already in there, since there's like 4 months worth of content already in there, the value is just absolutely incredible, because coaching, like you can't get coaching and education and the journaling guides. All of this stuff would cost, a bigger chunk of change than it would to like work with me one-on-one. And so what I'm most excited about this program is like, not everybody has a couple $1,000s to work with me to do individual coaching, right? And so like if there's a way that I can share my gifts and talents and all of this, thousands of dollars of education that I've gotten, and I've take all of these conferences and do all of these summits because I love to consume that education and that information and share it. I want to share the differences that all kind of go together. And so it's just a really incredible group. And then, yeah, for less than $20 a month to be a part of that. And then I am putting out a new option. If somebody wants to pay in full for the year, you'll get like more than 2 months free. So like $197 if you pay in full for a year. And so then it just renews every month, and there's like, I'm not going to hold your feet to the fire. If you ever need to cancel for whatever reason, I'm going to reach out to you, but nobody should cancel. But this is all about you guys too. And so the cool thing about being a founding member is like, you get to give me feedback and tell me what it is that you need more of. And we get to create this space so that right now, when it's, under 20 people that are in there, so that when there are, 100 people, that like we're creating this space that's going to change hundreds of women's lives. And so I'm just really excited about the opportunity that we have here to really make an impact and to help people stop playing small, to step outside of those limiting beliefs, the procrastination, the perfectionism, all of those things. And then, yeah, so that's kind of a little bit about that. So do you guys have any questions about anything that we talked about? If so, let me know in the chat if anybody has any questions. I'll pop the link in here. All right, I just put the link in the chat. Good, I'm glad you needed the reboot. Enjoyed it, love it, love it, love it. I will send you guys a link to the recording of this. It will be available. So here's the deal with the Venture Life Society. To lock in that rate and to join, the doors are going to close on Thursday. So if you guys are interested in joining, then I would say now sooner than later. Don't procrastinate on this if this is something that you're actually feeling called and compelled to do. If you want to do some of this more inner work, again, the doors are only open until Thursday at 11:59 Central Standard Time. So, well, if nobody else has any questions, then yeah.
Carla, really quick. Sorry, I missed the beginning. I was trying to get dinner for my kids. Where would this be posted? I had a couple slides I needed to catch up on the replay.
Yeah, I will email it out to everybody.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here. Anything else? Awesome sauce. Well, thank you so much, ladies, for your time. And if you want to send me any feedback, just reply to the email and let me know what you liked, what you didn't like, if there's anything that you feel like was missing or that maybe you needed more of. I just want to make this awesome and I just want to love and serve you guys. So awesome. Well, I love you guys. Have an awesome rest of your evening. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.